Those are the people that. 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 Those are the people that.
久しぶりにかぶるときついね。よいしょっと。 Sit or stand, then press in both thumbstick to calibrate your height. You can recalibrate your height at any time by pressing in both thumbstick. はい。
Welcome to Cards and Tankards. Let's get you started with learning the basics. Look around the room. Notice that glowing circle on the floor in front of the table over there? Use your right thumbstick to rotate your perspective and your left thumbstick to move into position.
おお、なんかいる。
Take a moment to open your watch menu by rotating your hand sideways while looking at the watch on your wrist.
Open your watch menu.
Use your controller's grip button to grab the deck box labeled Tutorial below the watch menu.
Use your controller's grip button to grab the deck box. ちょっと待って、他の時計アプリと干渉してる。ちょっと待って。
Place the tutorial deck box into the Play Tutorial deck holder on the table.
Just 待って。まあいいか。これをここに。
This is the Easy AI. Most adventurers call him Mulligan. He's going to help teach you the basics. At the beginning of a battle, you can choose to redraw your starting hand with one less card. But for right now, let's continue on. Press the Accept button.
ちょっと待ってね。解像度上げたい。ああ、こっちの設定でやってんのか。これで綺麗になったかな。At the beginning of the battle, you can choose to redraw your starting hand with one less card. マリガンのことか。 But for right now, let's continue on. Press the accept button.
Battles take place here on the table. This is your health. If it reaches 0, you will lose the battle.
これ HP ね。
This is your mana. You will spend it to play spells and summon
マナね。
creatures.
これはコストね。
Look at the cards in your hand. Notice how some have a blue outline around them. Those cards have a mana cost you can
これ
afford
か
this turn.
今使えるやつね。
You should probably summon a creature this turn. So grab the Skywatcher Sentry card from your hand.
スカイウォッチャーセントリー。
Examine the card. The number 1 in
Right.
the top left corner represents the mana cost of this card.
飛行を持ってますね。
The number 2 in the middle left represents the attack power. And the number 1 in the middle right is the
これ
creature's health.
HP か。
Let's summon Skywatcher Sentry by placing the card in the creature area shown.
出た。
Great job. Skywatcher Sentry is now a friendly creature under your control. It is important to note that your mana was reduced by 1 in order to summon Skywatcher Sentry. Since Skywatcher Sentry was just summoned, it is exhausted. This means it can't attack or use activated abilities this turn.
召喚良いですね。
Speaking of abilities, point at Skywatcher Sentry to examine it. The wing icon
こうでもいい
represents
の
a
か。
passive ability called Flight. This means Skywatcher
もうちょい
Sentry
カ
can
ード
only be
の
blocked by
解像度
other
上げてほ
creatures
しい
with
な。
flight or ranged. As you encounter new cards, remember you can always examine it to learn more about it.
フライトはフライトかレンジじゃないと
Since
攻
your
撃できな
mana
いと。
has reached 0 and you have no creatures that can attack, let's end your turn.
これターンエンド
Grab。the hourglass with your grip
こう
button.
か。
Now it's Mulligan's turn.
向こうに行くの
He
ね。
is going to play the spell Gunhunt's Call to summon a 1 attack, 1 defense Desperado.
あれはレンジドじゃない？あ、レンジドだ。
Make sure to examine it to learn more about its abilities. It looks like that is all he'll be able to play. So he will end his turn and pass the hourglass back to you.
はい。
Did you notice? Now that it's your second turn, you've gained 1 extra mana.
マナは毎ターン増えると。
Let's use that mana to play a spell. Grab Boon Bones from your hand.
Discard a card. If you do, draw a card and summon a bone amalgamate.
Spells must be played. Boon Bones requires you discard a card from your hand.
One discard. 選べんの？
Let's discard Garanin Trading Prince.
これを
In order to discard Garanin Trading Prince, you need to place it into the graveyard on the left side of the table.
これがグレイブヤード。こっちか。遠い。
Nicely done. Boons to Bones will now
出た。
summon a Bone Amalgamate and draw the top card from your
ア
deck.
マルガメイト。
Notice that your Skywatcher Sentry is no longer
One
exhausted.
for each bone
Let's attack with
amalgamate
it
in
this
your
turn.
あー、墓地のか。こい
To
つの
declare
数
an
が強く
attack,
なる。
push Skywatcher Sentry forward into the battle area.
ああ、押すのか。
Now that you're ready, flip the hourglass to confirm the attack.
フリップザアワーグラス。バトルフェイスってこ
Your
と？
opponent will always be able to choose how they block against your
ああ、
attacks.
はいはい。どれでガードするか選べるのね。
Mulligan will block your Skywatcher Sentry with his Desperado.
マジック・ザ・ギャザリングですね。
Creatures deal their attack to one another. If a creature's health reaches 0, it dies.
うんうん。
And when a
こい
creature
つは
dies,
こい
it is
つレン
sent
ジ
to
ド
the
じゃないんだ。
graveyard. It is now Mulligan's turn again. Looks like he decided to summon a Dungeon Instigator.
こっちに墓地があってほし
He
い
is
な。
also playing the spell Motivational Fervor. That spell allows Mulligan to give one of his creatures amped and +2/+2 until end of turn.
ああ、ちゃんと見れるんだ。
Amped is the ability that removes the exhausted status of a creature. That means it will be able to attack the turn it's summoned.
うんうん。
The +2/+2 means that the spell increases the creature's stats by 2 attack and 2
モチベー
defense.
ショナルフェイバー。
Mulligan has declared an attack and ended his turn.
パフォーマーアビリティ with
Notice how the
creature
hourglass is now on your side again, but it has a shield icon on top.
Summons a random
The shield
creature
icon
from
signifies
your
that this is your turn to
surface
block.
mana cost.
Notice the
2
yellow
マナ以
ring
降
around
召
Dungeon
喚するってこ
Instigator.
と？
This indicates that a creature will deal direct damage if left unblocked. Use your controller's grip button to grab your bone amalgamate and place it in the blue ring in front of Dungeon Instigator to
これ
block the
まあ
attack.
ディフェンスってことか。これでガードすると。
Perfect. The yellow ring around Dungeon Instigator has disappeared. This means it will no longer deal direct damage this turn. Unfortunately, the bone amalgamate died because it took 4 damage from Dungeon Instigator, and it only had 1 health.
There's nothing else you can do right now, so flip over the hourglass to start your next turn. The hourglass remained on your side of the table, but the icon on top has changed to an axe. The axe icon indicates that it is now your main turn again. Do me a favor. Point your hand at the graveyard located on your left, and pull your trigger to examine the cards within it. If you prefer, you can also simply tap the graveyard with your hand to open it. Oh look! Remember last turn how you discarded Garanin Trading Prince? You have a spell in your hand that can bring him back.
ああ、こいつ。
Close the graveyard by swiping it away.
Close the graveyard by swiping. なる
Play
ほ
the
どね。
spell Necromancy to summon Garanin Trading Prince from your graveyard.
Play the spell Necromancy to summon Greman Trading Place from your graveyard. Summon a creature from your graveyard for half its mana cost. It has half its original health. 半分のコストで半分の HP で出ると。Banish it when it dies. Banish ってなんだろ
Select Garanin Trading Prince by grabbing it.
う。2マナで出せるってことか。で、HP が1になると。
Great work! Garanin has some really unique abilities. Remember, you can examine him if you want to learn more. Otherwise, there is nothing more to do, so flip the hourglass to end your turn.
Unique. You can only put one copy of a unique card. 一体しかですね。レジェンドってことね。Otherwise, there is nothing more to do, so flip the hourglass to end your turn. Gain one life when your opponent draw a card. Activate draw a card. Activate perform an ability when the creature is tapped on the head. タップとかあんのこれ。The creature cannot attack this turn. ああ、攻撃する代わりにドローできるってこと？クソ強じゃないですか。キノコみたいなんでできたけど。
What just happened?
ああ、ドローした
Mulligan
から
summoned a
ね。
monstrous recruiter, and several abilities triggered as a result. Let's break down each ability.
こいつは、
Triggered abilities will only activate under certain conditions. For example, Monstrous Recruiter has an entrance ability, which was triggered by entering the creature
うんう
area.
ん、おたけびですね。
Once activated, Mulligan drew 2 cards.
はいはい。それによって回復し
Your
たと。
Garanin Trading Prince had an
Draw
ability
two
trigger as
cards,
well.
discard any spell drawn.
As long as you
Disbrow.
control Garanin Trading Prince, you gain
Perform
1
an
life
ability
whenever
when
an
the
opponent draws
creature
a card.
kills another creature in
And since
combat.
Mulligan drew 2 cards from Monstrous
hi.
Recruiter's entrance ability,
殺すとデスブローが出ると。Return this card to your hand.
it looks like
強いじゃん。
Mulligan is attacked again with his Dungeon Instigator. So it's time to make a decision.
ああ、守らないという
If
選
you
択もあ
block
るん
the
でね。
Dungeon Instigator with your Garanin Trading Prince, both creatures will die.
ああ、そっ
Garanin
か。
Trading Prince has some very strong abilities. It is better if you keep him alive.
生かすことができるって考えるとこいつめっちゃ
Instead
強
of
いね。
blocking this turn, you can choose to take the direct damage.
じゃあダメージ受けますか。
Flip the hourglass without designating a blocker.
はい。
Ouch. You lost 2 life from that attack, but trust me, it was worth it. Since now it is your 4th turn, you have 4 mana available to spend. You definitely need another creature to block Mulligan's Dungeon Instigator next turn. Grab Loyal Spell Shaper from your hand and summon it.
ロイヤルスプレシーパー。マスタリー。マスタリー2ラストワード Add a random copy of a spell you played this turn to your hand.
Loyal Spell Shaper has an ability called Mastery, which buffs damage dealt by spells. You don't currently have any damage spells in your hand, but maybe we can draw one with Garen and Trading Prince. Manually activate his ability by tapping him on the
うん
head.
うんダメージスペルの魔法ダメージアップか Activate his ability to tapping タップってどうやんだタップ
Would you look at that? You drew a dark matter blast.
うんうん
That is exactly
で
what you needed.
ドローできる下か
If you look at dark matter blast, you will notice the damage
あ
value
あ
is
横向
green.
いてるのが終わってるってことね
That is because the mastery ability from your loyal spell shaper buffs your first damage spell each turn.
うんうん
Since loyal spell shaper has mastery 2, dark matter blast increased from deal 3 damage to deal 5 damage.
なるほどね
Play dark matter blast to spend the rest of your available mana this turn.
Deal 5 damage You take 3 direct damage
When playing a damage spell, you will likely need to choose a target. Anything highlighted with a blue ring is a possible target for dark matter blast.
味方にも撃てるんだね
Be careful though. You can accidentally target yourself.
自分にも
You
撃て
can
る
either tap a target directly or point at it and pull the trigger to select it.
あいつ
Target Mulligan's life points to deal 5 direct damage.
いやこっちの方がいいと思うここはあれに従うかはいはいはい
Fantastic! You really are quite a natural.
これ何回でも
Normally,
Ah,
a
non
match would
credemo da.
continue until a player's health reaches 0. But since you have successfully covered all the basics, let's move on. Did you know that this card game is based on our ancient history during the time of the Dungeon Wars? Most adventurers who pass through here only know bits and pieces about the legends. I'll give you a quick history lesson since you need to choose a primary faction later on.
うんうん大体分かっ
This
た
deck's primary faction is Dungeon Master. The Dungeon Masters were a powerful race of scholars whom worshipped the oldest god. They sought to improve their mastery of dark matter magic by experimenting on the poor, unfortunate dead. Dwelling in their dungeons beneath the towers and catacombs of the ancient world, they commanded their forces of undead armies and enslaved monsters to protect their conjured riches from greedy plunderers.
ストーリー的なの
On the table in your creature area, you can see the Dungeon Master Zerothrix.
ダンジョンマスター
When you select Dungeon Master as your deck's primary faction, you must add one Dungeon Master to your deck, and their health will always be equal to your own. This means whenever Zerothrix takes damage, you do as well. To balance the fact that you always start the match with your Dungeon Master in play,
こことリ
you
ンク
start
してる
each
んだ
battle
ね
with one less card in your hand. All Dungeon Masters have strong abilities you can build a deck to synergize with. Zerothrix has the Mastery ability. He would be a smart choice in a deck full of damage spells. Overall, the Dungeon
Has
Master
another
faction is
mastery
easy to learn
for
and
every
well
5
balanced
spell
with a
in your
variety of
graveyard.
spells and creatures to choose from. There are more factions to choose from though, so let's keep going. This deck's primary faction is the Monsters' Rights Association. The Monsters' Rights Association is an army of foul and murderous beasts, often birthed by the vile dungeon masters in twisted experiments deep within the dungeons. However, under the gibbous powers of the wild god, they rebelled against their former masters and struck them down out of hatred and malice. No mortal being in the ancient world was safe from the stampede of these vengeful creatures. While playing with Monsters' Rights Association as your primary faction, you can put a creature from your hand into your reserves once per turn. Grab Skywatcher Sentry from your hand. Place Skywatcher Sentry into your reserves located to the right of your deck.
リザーブ
When you put a creature into your reserves, you gain 1 additional mana that turn.
うーん
With that additional mana, you can now summon Improvised Medic. Grab
Oh.
Improvised Medic from your hand.
生贄みたいな感じ
Improvised Medic has an ability called Mobilize, which will summon a
Mobilize
creature from your reserves with a mana
Some
cost
random
equal to the
creature
Mobilize
from
value.
your reserves with mana cost
Since Improvised Medic has
に
Mobilize
マナを
1,
出せる
it
と
will summon the 1 mana Skywatcher Sentry you just placed into your reserves. Summon Improvised Medic to watch the Mobilize trigger.
こいつをここに置くと1マナ増えてでこいつで出してこいつが出てくると わあ、複雑だ。
Overall, the Monsters' Rights Association is a creature-heavy faction that is typically fast-paced. However, it requires careful planning to capitalize on its full potential. Keep this in mind as you explore the other factions. This deck's primary faction is the Plundering Guild. The hearts of men are reliably corrupted by the promises of power and wealth. However,
なんかコイ
almost
ンか。
none would ever dare venture into the dungeons of the masters in that pursuit.
これなんだろう。
Despite this fact, imbued by the god of greed's temptation, the greediest thieves and mercenaries of the Plundering Guild often risk their lives for the ultimate payout. While playing with the Plundering Guild as your primary faction, you will notice that a new resource is available in front of you.
ちょっと熱いな。
This is your coin resource. Many of your cards can be enhanced in exchange for coins. You earn 1 coin at the beginning of each turn, similar to mana. However, once you exchange a coin, it is lost forever, so spend them wisely.
毎ターン1コインもらえると。
Grab Frontline Squire from your hand.
よいしょ。
Frontline Squire has an entrance ability that will buff a random creature in your hand.
エントランスパフォーマンスア
You
ビリ
can
ティ。
also see that it has an enhance ability which will upgrade the card.
Give a random creature.
Once enhanced, Frontline Squire will be able to buff 2 random creatures instead of only
あ
one
あ、
in
エン
exchange
ハンス
for
が
1
コイン。
coin.
2 random creatures instead for 1
Grab
coin.
Frontline Squire and tap it to the coin to enhance the card.
ああ、なるほどね。こうしてこうするとエンハンスできると。
Now that's a powerful
ああ、なる
card.
ほどね。
Notice that
Random
the text has been
creature.
altered and there is no longer an enhance ability. This card
Keeps
can't be
random
enhanced the
手
second
札
time.
強化か。
Summon Frontline Squire to trigger its entrance. Since you enhanced Frontline Squire,
これが
both
バ
Pillaging
フされたと。
Prince and the Dagger Supplier were buffed by +1 attack and +1 defense. Cards that are enhanced or buffed in your hand are permanently improved and will not return to their original stats even if they are killed, banished, or returned. Overall, the Plundering Guild is a creature-heavy faction that is all about balancing your resources to gain incredible value to overpower your opponent. Well, I've taught you all I know. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask your fellow adventurers.
ちょっと画面
I
暗
am
くしよう
glad that you stumbled into this old tavern of ours. A tankard of ale and a good distraction is exactly what an adventurer like yourself needs.
Players must be at least 13 years old of age. No sexual, no. Choose your static faction. ファクションがデッキか。ダンジョンマスター、モンスターズライツアソシエーション、プランダーリングがさっきのコイン使うやつね。これが最初に使ったやつかな。Murder's Beast often burst by the こっちから見てみようか。The Dungeon Masters were a powerful race of scholar. During the dungeon, use the tower. You must add 1 dungeon master to your deck, and their health will always be equal to your own. You start each battle with 1 less card in your hand. これ違うな。戦闘スタイルみたいなもんか。The Dungeon Master faction is easy to run and well balanced with a variety of spells and creatures to choose from. 一体のダンジョンマスターで戦うと。 手札が1枚少なくて、ダンジョンマスターは自分の HP とリンクしてると。You can put a creature from your hand into your reserve once per turn. ああ、なるほどね。さっきのリザーブが使えるのがこれ。When you put a creature into your reserves, you gain one additional mana that turn. Mobilize ability will summon a creature from your reserves with the mana cost equal to the mobilize value. はいはいはいはい。生贄にやつが使えるね。これがコインね。The hearts of men are I will notice that the new coin resource is available in front of you. Many of your cards can be enhanced in exchange for coins. Human coin at the beginning of the どうしよう。これはまあ図的な感じになるよね。多分いっぱい出す。個人的にはコントロール的なのがやりたい。これにしよっかな。これもちょっとテクニカルで面白そうだけど、大量に召喚する系でしょ。これは何だろう。ダンジョンマスターがボスみたいな感じになるんだよね。これにします。This is your private room where you can customize your avatar, edit your personal decks, and play AI battle without distractions. Take a moment to open your watch menu by rotating your hand.This menu is where you can see how much gold you have earned, utilize the social interface to mute or report other players, and customize your settings. When you are ready, grab the turban door handle and pull to enter the multiplayer lobby. これは何だろう。課金だね。円ですね、これは。ちょっと待った。これを閉じたい。バック。OK。ああ、結構人いるじゃん。ナイス。これなんだろう。セカンダリーボタンってどれ？これが自分のアバターね。ああ、これが課金なんだ。 これがデッキか。
Hey you. Yeah, you there. Do you want to see a magic trick? You ready? Oh, yeah. Hey you. Yeah, you there. Do you want to see a magic trick? You ready? Oh, yeah.
背中から。おお。こっちは何だろう。これなんだろう。
Want them to. So, first step, always have your binder out. Now, once you've got your binder out, the next step is to take a look down at your waist down here. And you can see I've got quite a lot of decks here. But in order to build one of them,
これをこうする。ああ、なんか出てきた。はあはあ。これでビルドできんだ。手が。
the stats section. Here you can see how many cards are in your deck, how many cards you have of your primary faction, and how many of your secondary faction. And then also all the way over here, we have the number of creatures and a number of spells we have in our deck. This bit along here with the numbers at the bottom is your mana curve. This shows you the distribution of the different cards you have in your deck by the amount they cost. And it's broken down again into creatures and spells. So we can see here, we have nothing that's zero cost in this deck. And for one cost cards, you can see we have a lot of spells. We also have a lot of creatures as well. So we have 13 total of creatures of one cost cards, of which the majority are spells, but not by too much. Whereas you can see over here in our 6 cost cards that we have just creatures at 6 cost. We have 6 of them, and every single card we have at 6 cost is a creature. There are no 6 cost spells in our deck. And then down the bottom here, we have first our deck name, then we have our primary faction and our secondary faction. You have to have 30 cards minimum from your primary faction in your deck out of your total 40 cards. Your secondary faction, you have up to 10. Now your primary faction will change a little bit about what kind of cards you can and cannot put in your deck and how you should deck build. So there are 2 factions at the moment, Dungeon Master and Monsters' Rights Association. If Dungeon Master is your primary faction, then your deck will have to include a Dungeon Master leader. That's a specific type of card that you'll see in your binder that you can put in your deck, and you have to have one of those in there. If you have your primary faction set as Monsters' Rights Association, then you don't have that same issue. Your deck just consists of 40 cards. Then here you can change your card back. So if I just click on this with my trigger, you can see all the card backs are available, and this one that I already have right here. I love it. I hope you do too. You can see that you can buy some of them with coins, and then you can buy all of them with gems. Coins are an in-game currency, and gems are a real-world currency. So you pay real cash money in order to get those gems, and that will let you firstly support the game, but secondly get yourself some very nice card backs for your really awesome decks that you're going to build. And then down the bottom here, we have the save option. This is how you save your deck. If you don't save it and you log out, none of the changes you've made will be remembered. And also when you press the save button, that's when you're going to see sometimes an error pop up that's going to remind you that maybe you need to include a Dungeon Master in your deck. Or maybe you've got 2 Dungeon Masters and you're only allowed 1. And on the right here, you can see all the cards you have in your deck. You can see how much they cost on the left here. This Dark Matter Blast costs 1 mana. And you can see how many copies you've got in your deck out of the maximum limit, of which you can only have 3 copies of each card in your deck. If you want to scroll through this list, you just hold down the trigger and then you can swipe through to see what cards you've got in here. And if you hover over them, you can see the information of the card just to the side here. And if they have special keywords, they'll also be written alongside the card here, so you can read what those do. So firstly, if you want to remove cards, you just point at a card here and then click with the trigger, and that will remove the card like so. Now, when you're deck building, in order to make it easier, what you can do is if you want to work out which cards you are considering for your deck, you can put all of those in first, because you're allowed to overfill your deck like so. It's just that when you go to save it, it's then going to give you an error. So you'll have to correct that first. But you can overfill your deck and then make decisions here about which cards you should cut out of your deck afterwards. So to navigate through your binder, you can point and click with your trigger at these arrows on the edges to scan through the pages that you have. You can see here I have 12 pages of cards. If you want to add a card to your...
よし、とりあえずこれでワンゲームやってみるか。The Mulligan stage lets you redraw your starting hands up to 3 times, but each draw gives you 1 less card. To continue, press the accept button to redraw your hand, press the redraw. まあ軽いしいいんじゃないかな。あれダンジョンマスターだ。ちょっと待って、近くで見たい。マスタリー Your next damage spell deals more damage. Disactivate each turn. 毎ターンに1回だけ呪文ダメージプライ1ね。Has another mastery 1 for every 5 spells in your graveyard. まあそんな怖くないかな。で、1マナ。Deal 2 damage to a creature. Gain a coin. Shuffle an assassin's strike in your opponent's deck for each coin you have. ローグですね。これかな。If you have 4 plus coins, summon a eager farmer. です。強化して出すか。はい。123強い。はい。2マナ。ラストワードは断末魔だよね。あとはコピー of a random card from your opponent's hand to your hand 強い。Enhance last word instead for 2 coins。2コインじゃないとダメだから、これじゃ足りないのか。なるほどね。まあ出しましょう。はい。これワンコイン取れたからこれでもよかったね。フロントラインスクワイア Give a random creature in your hand プラワンプラワンハンドバフ2ランダムクリーチャーこれにしよっかな。 で叩くか。どうぞ。どこに入った今。どっちに入っても同じか。でもいっぱい出てきた。Give another friendly creature 02がこいつに入ったのね。バニラですね、あいつは。4マナ2コイン。Deal this creature's attack to target creature 2点。Gain 2042 coins。ああ、強い。4点出せるってことね。2コイン。真ん中のやつ倒せるね。これはgive a random creature in hand plus 1 2 random creature instead for 3 coins。まあ、とりあえずこいつでこれ行ってエントランスして真ん中をあいつお願いします。で、こいつで叩くとこいつでやられるんだよね、多分。なんでこいつ行きます。でこいつはまあどうしよう。使わんでいいか。なんてこれつかめはしないんだ。Copy a random card in your hand and add it to your hand. Add a copied card costs 2 less mana. あいつもコインあるんだ。セカンダリーがコイン使えるやつってことか。5マナ。鹿444鹿。マナスペルで倒せますね。Steal a random card from your opponent's deck and shuffle it in yours. Enhance Steal 2 instead. いらねえ。Dead or alive. Deal 2 damage to a creature. If it dies, gain 2 coins. Enhance Deal 4 damage. これ移動できるんだこれ。便利。Give a random creature in hand. Plus 1 Enhance 2 random creature. 14でいこうかな。これをノーマルで使ってあいつはい3コインで3コインで2人にプラ11召喚士につくのかなこれは。444強くなった。強くなってない。プラ22って自分につくんだ。違うな。Give 2 random creatures in hand. プラ1プラ1。デスラトルの効果がラストワードの効果が強くなったってことね。待った。こいつはなんで光ってんだろう。ラストワード持ってるから。あとは Copy of a random card from your opponent's hand to your hand。 使っていいかこれも。やばい時間が。はい ガードしないね、敵。あいつってガードできるんだよね。バニラ、バニラ。タウント持ちだ。6マナ。ゾウいけますね。あんたコピーオブランダムカードフロムヤオポーネントハンド。いらんかな。デスブロー。エンレイジとエレファントゲインズプラワンプラワン。一番強いやついきますよ。はい。で、こいつはなんだ。デスブロー。これデスブロー発動しますね。これもいくか。いや、取られるな。別にいいか。それから、お前も行って。はい。うん、まあそうなるね。これはコピーしてきたやつね。顔いく。オポーネントマストブロックディスクリーチャー。ブロックしなきゃいけないってことね。攻撃したやつはブロックに参加できないんだ。これデスブローは発動する？してない。してるっぽいな。こいつは何もしない。これ何？ワンマンアーミー。This creature takes no damage the first time. It's blocked each turn. 聖なる盾か。ディバインシールド毎ターン貼るってこと？シャッフルアンアサシンストライク4。何マナ ?7 マナ。52でいいか。444。こっちだな。Restless. This creature does not become enhanced after attacking. はいはい。これいこうか。で、もちろんこいつ。それから、こいつもいこうか。そうするとガードできるやつがいないのか。まあ、いっか。これなんだっけ。コインか。はい。はい。で、強くなると。これは直で通ると。はい、こいつってガードに参加できないとこあんのかね。Deal 1 damage to boss combatants when blocking。両サイドの敵ってことかな。守るときにその両サイドの敵にダメージ与える的な感じだと思う。Summon an adventure, then shuffle 2 adventures into your deck. Shuffle 4 adventure. コインあんま使いたくないな今。手札もらえるのか。一旦温存。 はもちろん行く。これも行こう。こいつはね、守りに使いたい感がある。こいつは、一度に2体はガードできないよね、多分。これ両サイドに1入った。一斉に攻撃した方がいいかもね。で、死んだ。ちょっと待って。何された今。あれ何なんか浮いてるけど。すぐ消えるやん。Deal this cause mana cost in damage to an enemy creature and half to adjacent creature 422か。で、これノーダメなんでしょう。こうすると。ノーダメ。ダメージ入ってんじゃん。ノーダメージ、ザ・ファーストタイム、いつブロックと1ターン。ダメージ入ってるけどね。これは意味ないか。This creature takes no damage the first time. It's broke to each time. Gain coin. Deal damage to a creature equal to your total coins. 強いね。とりあえずこれでコインをWhen drawn, take one direct damage and banish this card. これコイン増やすでしょ。で、消えた。あ、コイン消費しちゃうんだ。やることない。やることがない。使っていいか。あざーす。あ、デッキに行くのか。で、もう勝ちですね、これ。こうでこうでこう。はいはい。勝った。カードもらった。Summon a copy of Caution the Hunting Party. Let's get you some gold at the counter. You can claim your first quest. Your first win of each day earns you a daily booster pack of 3 cards. はいはい。デイリーね、今の。クエストはどうこう言ってたけど。クエスト。クエスト。ここにはないのか。まあとりあえず一回やったし、一旦これでいいや。また今度やろう。じゃあ終わりまーす。